Hello and welcome to Blank Plate, a podcast for Swifties with an appetite.
I'm Sara, and I used to be a little kid with glasses in a twin-size bed.
I'm Laura, and I'm a mess, but I'm the mess that you wanted.
And we've got a blank plate, baby, and we'll write your name. Heyo!
Hey!
All right.
Hi, everybody.
We've got a slightly different kind of episode today.
Yeah, Sara and I were trying to think ahead because, we do this bi-weekly. We're like, oh my gosh, our next episode will be after the AMAs. Maybe we should wait to record until the AMAs are done because this has been the biggest thing Swifties have talked about recently.
Mm-hmm.
And man, did this work out in our favor to have a backup plan because we were expecting an announcement or something to rehash, but holy moly, we do not. Getting to that later, we're talking about our Roman empires. And if you don't know what we're talking about, if you don't know what a Roman empire is, the concept of Roman empire comes from, I guess, a TikTok trend where...
Yeah, it was a TikTok trend a year ago or so. Where...
Had to be longer than that. Maybe 2 years ago?
Yeah, and I don't remember how it got started, but the idea of it was women asking their male partners, or just men they know, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
And just being shocked at the amount that they think about it.
Which is a lot, apparently.
Yeah. And not for women, for most women. We have different versions of that.
We have our own Roman empires.
What is your Roman Empire? What's something you think about all the time,
Right.
So...
yeah. And I mean, I was shocked to find out that this is a universal man thing, apparently. I was not shocked to find out that Josh thinks about the Roman Empire because he talks to me about the Roman Empire all the time.
See, I asked Luke this question and he said, not as much as I think about the ancient Greeks. And I said, okay, that tracks.
Okay. Kind of similar though.
Yeah, similar vibes, but yeah.
Yeah. I think we kind of, at least in our group, came to the conclusion that I think women's Roman Empire is kind of thinking about how shitty life has been for women and being thankful that we don't live in any time before the current time.
Yeah. Literally thinking to yourself, I'm so glad I live in 2025 and not the 1600s because XYZ, or the 1800s because, or the 1950s because,
or the 1970s because.
Right, exactly. And it goes on and on and on. Also, I think another very popular one for women is the Salem witch trials. I think a lot of women think about that because it's I would definitely be considered a witch. I would be a witch. So anyway, today we're talking about our Taylor Roman empires, meaning we're talking about these things that keep us up at night that we're constantly just plagued to understand.
Things we just think about. And also I think for people like me and you, Taylor Swift is our Roman Empire. We think about Taylor all the time.
But of course, yes. I mean, yes, the ultimate Roman Empire is Taylor. So,
right.
What's she doing right now?
Right.
What's she doing?
Yeah, always on our minds.
Yeah.
Which is why we started a podcast about it.
And here we are. And here you are, listeners.
Here we all are. But anyway, before we get into all that, we got to get into what's on our plate. So, Laura, what's on your plate?
Couple things. I second shot a wedding this past weekend over Memorial Day weekend. It was wonderful. And I just love shooting. It's just been so fun. I actually was with the first photographer who booked the clients, and she let me try her camera, same camera body, but different lens. And literally convinced me to get another lens. So I took the money that I earned shooting for her, and I immediately just bought the lens that she had. I was
what lens
I want that lens. It's a nifty 50, 1.4 aperture. I've had a 27 to 105 millimeter, which is kind of my trusty guy, but I really have pushed it to its limits. Like, it's only a 4 aperture. And if you don't know what we're talking about in photography world, like basically it means I have done as much of it that I possibly can. Like, I know how to control it. I know how it works with my camera, but it doesn't quite do what I need it to do. Like in low light settings, or if I want like a creamier bokeh or like whatever. So I was convinced to buy a new lens. So I pretty much immediately spent all the money that I earned at that second wedding. But
an investment in your business.
Absolutely. And it just made me really excited to shoot. I went through a big renaissance of shooting in like early winter, like late fall. I did a bunch of like family sessions, and now all I want to do is just like someone get engaged, someone get married, because I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready. It's been a lot of fun. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, this weekend, for Memorial Day weekend, Josh and I were lucky enough to be in the Hamptons with our friends.
So jealous.
Yeah. And there were 2 little girls. So it was nice. It was really fun because the weather was not really beach weather, but it was just lovely to get away and be with them. The house has a pool, so we were able to sit by the pool a little bit. Plus, They have 2 daughters who are like 1 and 3. So we had a lot of fun with them. It's like a little taste of what our future could be like, really seeing what it's like for a whole weekend with 2 kids like that. And, helping them out, at the breakfast table. There's yogurt everywhere, like literally everywhere. Rubbing it on their faces, rubbing it on the table, so that was really nice. But also the other week, my mom and I got our color analysis done, which
this has been another one of your Roman empires.
This is one of my Roman
color
empires.
analysis.
Oh my gosh. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, I am obsessed with the color analysis videos on TikTok and everything. Where it's like, what season are you? Are you a summer or a winter or an autumn? What's your sub season? What are your skin undertones? Are you cool tone? Are you warm tone? So I was super pumped. It was like a Mother's Day gift for my mom and a birthday gift for myself. And we went to a place, a woman who's part of the House of Color system, which they have their own 16 season color wheel situation. So it was really fun. I loved it. I got my swatches that I can now shop with. I know what my wow colors are.
Nice. And just to to clarify, this color analysis is just to figure out what colors really bring out the best features of you, smooth your skin tone and make your eyes look brighter and that sort of thing. So if you're what the heck is she talking about with winters and seasons? That's what.
Yeah. So they drape you with different colors, and you'll have one color up and they'll quickly switch it to another one that might be warmer or cooler or less intense or something. And you'll be able to see the difference. But it's crazy how different colors really do affect your face and either make you the right colors make you look like you have a filter on your face.
Right.
And the wrong color will accentuate all of your imperfections and things like that.
If you ever see someone and you're like, wow, they're glowing. What is it?
Yeah.
Why do they look so good? They're probably wearing the right color in their season. So
yeah. Or if there's something that you always get compliments on. I have this one blue dress that I've only worn twice, and each of the 2 times I've worn it, I've gotten several compliments. People would be like, oh my God, that color was made for you. Or oh my God, I love your dress. That looks so pretty on you, whatever. Turns out that dress is one of my power colors.
Well, there you go.
So it's not surprising. But anyway, just to cap it all off, if you're dying to know, I am in the House of Color system. I am a 50-50 blend of true summer and what they call pastel summer. So basically, I'm a true summer / light summer combo. Which I was surprised by. I did not expect to be leaning towards light summer. But like once you see those more light kind of like pastel colors on me, like you can't deny it. So
And there it is.
now I know I got to lean into that a little bit. So yeah, and it was also interesting because my mom is more olive toned and we thought that maybe she was like a soft autumn, but my mom is also a summer, which means she's cool toned as well. So my mom is what they call a brown summer, which is more like a soft summer in like the more common terms that people use. So
yeah.
So that was really fun.
Sara, like notoriously for like months, years, would like look at someone and be like, I really think she's a true spring. And I'd be like, okay.
I do this all the time when Josh and I are like watching TV.
You like naturally like look at colors differently than like me because you're an artist. Like literally you look at color tones and like, you know, the also, saturation of things way differently than me.
When I was in college, color theory was one of my favorite classes that I took. Yeah. And it was also one of the most difficult.
Yeah.
So yeah, I find it fascinating. And yeah, I'm always like watching TV and I'll be like, I think she's a bright winter.
I honestly think, Sara, you need to get trained on this.
No, I think so.
Like, I think you should, because think about, like, you already are so good at this. I think that if you could just get those swatches and just, like, get trained, like, you'd be doing this, like, all the time and crushing it. It
might be my next career path, honestly.
I agree. I'm here to support it.
If it stays popular, I'm here to support it. Yeah. And honestly, I think the woman who did my analysis, like I was telling her, like, I've considered doing this at some point. And she was kind of like, yeah.
She's like, yeah, you should do that.
Yeah, you probably should. Love
that. I feel like color seasons and like kibby body types are like two things
that's the next thing I need to dive into.
Yeah. My brain cannot compute like either, really. I just know what doesn't look good on me. So,
you know what I think it is for me too is I think I love to categorize things.
You're very mathematical.
I am.
You love a chart. You love,
Like I'm creative, but I'm very mathematical and logical in a lot of ways. And I like to organize things and put things into categories and know where they belong. And this kind of fits into all that.
100%. It's creative and very methodological. Oh my God.
Wait, now I don't know what it is. Methodological? No,
mythological. Okay, we're not stupid.
Methodical.
Methodical is what I wanted to say. Yes.
Found it. You confused me by messing that up so much.
I was like in my head, I saw it and I was like, I'm not saying that right. Why am I not saying that right? Anyway. Methodical and creative. That's definitely you for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Taylor updates. Okay, let's start with the AMAs.
Okay, we got to talk about it.
There were so many signs leading us to believe that the AMAs was going to be a big moment. We didn't know what exactly. A lot of people are speculation, Rep TV, TS12 situation.
I gave so many signs.
And we all need to go to clown rehab.
We do.
Because truly nothing happened. She didn't even show up. She didn't.
Nobody did.
And I feel like since this, there's been nothing but people speculating what was wrong with the AMAs this year. A lot of the performers were touring, but I'm sorry, if you compare this year's AMA attendance versus even like a couple years ago when they were happening, when like Olivia Rodrigo won and like it was a star-studded event. It was treated like the Grammy Awards.
Right.
And let me tell you, that audience was dead. It was nothing but a couple famous musicians, but mostly, I don't know, influencers and brands. Very weird vibes.
Felt bad for SZA because she showed up and it seemed like she got there and was like, I did not get the memo that we weren't coming to this.
No, I mean, like, Billie Eilish, not there. Beyonce, not there. Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift. The big names did not show up, besides SZA.
Yeah. Um, yeah. And half of the performances were pre-recorded.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, there is something off. There is something behind the scenes that we do not understand. Also, it might have been political. Um, I'm not here to put my tinfoil hat on, but I will say the people that performed were I don't know, like, not the people that should have been performing. My God.
Yeah.
But it is very weird. I mean, there was even clips where you can hear that they silenced the applause for Taylor. Did you see that? Where
Yeah.
they muted the applause for Taylor. And she was
That is
nominated for
weird.
the most categories and walked away with none. And it's
Right.
it's a fan voted award show. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There is something fishy going on.
Like Billie Eilish won favorite touring artist or whatever. Like in general, Billie swept, which like good for you, Billie. Love it.
100%. Yeah.
But I have a really hard time that Billie Eilish's fans voted more than Taylor's fans.
I mean, what about Beyonce? Like,
Yeah.
it's just weird. It's very weird. Something's off.
But there is a theory that it was a political boycott because I guess like the owner of the AMAs or whatever is like a Trump person. And just in general, the vibes were weird. But the fact that pretty much all of the major artists who were nominated didn't show up. And even I think a lot of the bigger ones who did show up didn't really walk the red carpet.
No. Very weird.
So
I feel like this is something we'll hear more about in a couple months, but I do think that the clues were cluing. And for me, like, I'm going to speculate that perhaps there was an original plan for her to attend. And stuff went down behind the scenes and she was like, I'm not going. I'm not doing it.
And also apparently the producers of the show, even though it's fan voted, the producers can technically pick the winner.
I did see that. There was some fine print stuff that was kind of shady and has been shady.
Yeah. And the show was supposed to last 3 hours, but it ended after 2 hours. I literally like gotten
something's
settled
off
in my living room, finally able to turn it on.
Yeah.
And then it was over.
The vibes are off. Something happened. I don't know. Everybody chime in with your thoughts about the AMAs.
Yeah. This is a new Roman Empire.
If you're on YouTube, leave us a comment. If you are someone who follows us on social media, you can comment. But just a reminder, our phone number where you can like literally leave us a voicemail or text us is 717-382-8313. Again, that's 717-382-8313. I want to hear your thoughts. Like, legitimately, what happened at the AMAs? Tell us.
Please tell us.
Oh, and meanwhile, our girl Taylor is in Florida.
I feel like, okay, this was her saying, I'm not going to be at the AMAs.
And Taylor Nation being silent all day.
Right.
Like, I mean,
they had to have known that she wasn't winning anything.
I think so.
And that something was weird. But
yeah.
So Taylor was seen out having dinner with Travis at Harry's Bar and Restaurant in West Palm Beach, Florida on Friday, May 23rd. So Travis has been staying in Boca Raton, Florida for the off season. And I guess Taylor has been with him at least like part of the time. So they were seen out having dinner. Taylor's hair and outfit were very folklorian.
Yes, the waves were out. The waves were waving.
Yeah, the curly bangs and stuff. But also, since we're a foodie podcast.
Oh, yes.
Apparently, their bill, like before tip, was like $400.
Oh, my God.
Eyewitnesses noted that the couple indulged in a feast that consisted of an endive salad, cacio e pepe pasta, lobster risotto, a dry-aged burger, Dover sole, Wagyu filet mignon, garlic broccolini, and potato puree.
That's what I call bulking season for Mr. Travis.
According to the report, Travis ate the dry-aged burger and the Wagyu filet, as well as some of the pasta, while Taylor enjoyed the Dover sole and picked at the lobster risotto, and they shared the rest of the sides. So Travis had a burger and filet mignon.
I'll say pasta. That's bulking. That's bulking season.
He's got to be bulking.
I mean, it's the off season.
Also, he's a big boy.
Yeah.
He probably needs a lot of food. Plus, maybe he's like intermittent fasting and that's like his one meal of the day.
Yeah. I just love that they shared like basically all the little sides and stuff because like that's a classic move for Luke and I, whereas like you get this and I get this and then we share it. Because I just as much want to try this as I want to try this. So,
yeah. So, also, I mean, like, if you're as rich as them, why not order half the menu?
What is $400 to Taylor Swift? Nothing.
Really? Absolutely nothing.
And I bet she tipped like an absolute queen because we know that she does. So, we love that about her too. Okay. So, getting into our Roman Empire stuff. I feel like the reason that these Roman empires exist, period, is because Taylor loves her Easter eggs. So I wanted to start this episode just by like giving a little rundown of like a history of these Easter eggs and like just some general things that we always look for. Like we've gotten to a point of Delulu now where it's unheard of, but here, I mean, there are some things that are timeless. So for example, our queen loves the number 13.
Yeah.
She was born on December the 13th, 1989, of course. And she's constantly using that number. I mean, there's been a lot of like, I don't know, Swift craft, as we call it, where things magically do turn to 13 in her life. So for example, like, you know, I think it was her first couple songs were like number 1 for like 13 weeks. But she, during the debut, tour, she would write, Fearless and Speak Now, she would draw the number 13 on her hand. Her self-titled debut went gold in 13 weeks. Whenever she's won an award, she has been seated in row 13 or row M because it's the 13th letter. Her Kanye West incident happened on September 13th. I mean, like, the list goes on and on and on. But she's now used the number 13 as sort of like a marker for dates that we should look out for.
Yeah.
So we'll do like this numerology thing where like she'll announce it's February 11th. And we're like, oh, 11 plus 2 equals 13. Like, you know. So if you ever hear Swifties doing math, that's why.
Right. Yeah. Also, I never thought about this with the Folklore and Evermore. They came out the year she turned 31. And she made sure that the one album had 16 songs and the other had 15, which equals 31, which is 13 backwards. And Tortured Poets also has 31 tracks.
Right.
With the anthology, which is 13 backwards.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, like, she's released a lot of things on the 13th. For example, the Eras Tour extended version was released December 13th, 2023. Also her birthday. She won her 13th Grammy Award in 2024 when she announced TTPD. The 100th show of the Eras Tour was on June 13th. I mean,
yeah.
And then, of course, the whole Travis numbers, like, it's just insane.
Because his number is 87. 87 plus 13 equals 100. And then also her 13th time attending one of Travis's games was the 58th Super Bowl. 5 plus 8 equals 13. It was on February 11th. 2 plus 11 equals 13. And the opposing team was the 49ers. 4 plus 9 equals 13.
Yeah. And I just like, so when you hear Swifties do this like computation in their head where they're like, well, blah, 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 blah equals 13. This is why. I do think our math lately has just been like, it's too much. It's too much. Like, we need to calm down. Seriously.
Yeah, the math is too complicated.
Yeah. I mean, I do think her early Easter eggs are blatant. For example, in Debut, in the album booklet, she would like capitalize certain letters of the lyrics and spell out secret messages.
Yeah. And she continued that through the Red era. I think 1989 was when she stopped doing that. But that's where she originally used to have her clues about who the songs were about. Like, she would literally have the secret message spell people's names.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
like,
how
hello.
we know. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think another thing, too, about this whole thing is, like, there have been some Swiftie theories that she's confirmed that were speculatory, and now we're like, well, that's confirmed by her. So, for example, Woodvale. Fans found in the trees of one of the album photos in the folklore font the word Woodvale. And they're like, oh my God, this is another album. We're getting a third album. And she had to clarify and say, no, that's just like a replacement name that I was using instead of the word folklore. And like, we just forgot to take it out. So you guys are really good, but that's not actually a third album, basically. But we found that and we're like, what is this? Like, there have been times where she's clarified big misunderstandings. This was really before my time, but like, what's up with this lover mural? Like, people thought this was Taylor related, but
like, it kind of like got out that like there was a rumor that there would be something Taylor related at this specific spot in Nashville. And then it turned out to be true because it was the Pastel Wings Lover mural. And so it was part of the Lover rollout. But I guess like word got out a little bit and people are like, wait, something's happening here and we think it's Taylor Swift related. And it was.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
One of the most hilarious speculated things was that she traveled by suitcase in and out of her apartment. And like, this has kind of been confirmed by Taylor because she literally is traveling in and out of a janitor's cart in and out of the Eras tour. Like, that's kind of her confirmation, being like, hee hee ha ha.
Right.
But also Zayn Malik kind of accidentally confirmed those rumors. In an interview, he basically said that he said on an interview with British Vogue that, quote, she was traveling around in a suitcase. So
right. Yeah.
I guess we'll take his word for it. But that's just, but like for the longest time, we're like, there'd be these bodyguards that would just carry these huge suitcases in and out of her apartments. They're like, Taylor's in there. Yeah. Turns out it's true.
We also figured out that the pseudonym Niles Stjolberg, which she used for the what's the song title?
This Is What You Came For.
This Is What You Came For with Rihanna that she did with Calvin Harris. We figured out that was her, and she confirmed it in the Look What You Made Me Do music video because there's a gravestone with that name on it.
Yeah.
Because she had also said after that whole debacle, like, I'm never using a pseudonym for myself ever again.
As you shouldn't, Queen. Yeah. We also figured out that Joe was William Bowery. That was confirmed in the Long Pond interviews when Folklore was out and about. And I still find that a little weird based off of Jack's reaction, but that is what she claims. So,
yeah. And so tell me about this picture of Taylor and Lana.
Okay. So before Midnights came out, there was a photo of Taylor hanging out with Jack Antonoff. And there was, actually, I'm sorry. It was a picture of Lana and Jack Antonoff. And there was like kind of like an elbow or like a part of someone's body wearing a sweater. And then there were other photos released that it was confirmed at the same space that Taylor was wearing that sweater in April 2022. So people quickly figured out that Lana, Taylor, and Jack were in the same space. And everyone assumed there would be a Tay-Lana collaboration on Midnights, and that was correct. So basically, Instagram sleuthing solved that one.
Yeah. And then we have the Lover House, which each room is a different color scheme and stuff. And fans were pretty quick to realize that each room and color corresponded to each of her previous albums.
Mm-hmm.
And has Taylor officially confirmed this?
I don't know, but if you look at, I think if you think about the Eras tour and it being used like symbolically, I think with her burning it down and like the whole thing, it's hard to deny that she understands the concept of what the Lover House stands for. So
yeah.
She even like climbs into the attic at one point. It's just, there's a lot. But
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So all
right,
let's get to our Roman empires.
Okay. All right. Well, we need to start with Karma, the Lost album.
And we are Karma truthers. If you listen to us, you know this. We are Karma truthers.
We had talked about this also in depth in the Reputation 101 episode that we did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is where like I don't understand the non-Karma truthers. I really don't.
I just think I think it's more delusional to not believe it.
Me too. I think like the evidence is so clearly there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it. Okay. The overall concept of Karma, the Lost album, is that there are these like, there's this lost period of time between 1989 and Reputation where she was most likely writing because she's constantly writing.
Mm-hmm.
And she had like prepped an album that then got scrapped once Snakegate happened with Kim and Kanye.
Yeah.
Okay. It would have released in 2016, which followed her 2-year album drop cycle. But she didn't release an album in 2016. She released Reputation in 2017.
Right. Because she was on a 2-year rotation all the way through her career leading up to Reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no way our girl was sitting and just living her life during that time.
Mm-hmm.
No way. And
no way.
And what's interesting is like this was also the time frame where we now know Taylor connected with Maddie for the first time. So there's a lot of these like, and also we don't know much about the Calvin situation when they got together. Like there's a lot of like these missing pieces.
We appear to have almost no songs about Calvin Harris.
Yeah, like, except maybe I thought that I forgot
you existed on Lover.
Yeah.
And it's not just that she took 3 years between albums instead of 2. It's everything surrounding the circumstances of that.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Bleachella, okay?
Yes.
She drastically changed her look after 1989 she cut her hair to a short bob and bleached it blonde. And she was wearing different clothing, like rocker aesthetic stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grungier, just, yeah.
Yeah. And this kind of move by Taylor is always very intentional.
Taylor dresses in the era that she's promoting. Like,
yes,
this is an Easter egg.
Does that, especially like for Red, she did this. For 1989, she did this. And then she clearly pivoted again after 1989 for a new era.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that that look did not continue for the actual Reputation era is proof to me that it was for something else.
Yep.
Because if it was like people like to attribute that to Reputation.
No,
it's not part of the Reputation look and promotion and everything that she did for it. If it was part of Reputation, her hair would look like that on the Reputation cover.
I mean, also, she's literally explicitly told us in Easter egg clues in the Look What You Made Me Do music video about karma. For example, there's a plane with the letters TS6 that later gets spray painted with the word reputation that never took off. She even saws the wing of the airplane off. She grounds the flight. She puts reputation over it. What does that mean symbolically? You figure it out, okay? TS6 was not originally supposed to be reputation.
Yeah.
Also, we know that in the music video for The Man, there is a graffiti wall, which we're actually going to talk about later. And Karma appears along with a bunch of the other album names. Actually, it appears twice. So, come on.
Yeah. She said karma is real in a Vogue interview.
Yeah. And in the same music video, but in The Man, there's a large missing sign between 1989 and the word karma. So
also, the Eras tour ends with the song Karma, and she walks off stage through an orange door.
And connecting to orange, she wears the color orange in the Look What You Made Me Do music video in swinging on a bird cage, which kind of represents that she's put this album in a vault or put it away in a cage, or she was caged. So this reminded us of the song like Guilty as Sin. I keep these longings locked in lowercase inside a vault. Hello.
Right. Okay. And I need to talk about the timing for this because this is this is where I'm like, if you don't think karma is real, what world are you living in? Okay.
Yeah.
Taylor has said that Reputation was the only time, at least at that point, where she had the album title and concept right away and wrote songs to fit that theme.
Right.
So, you could maybe argue that with everything going on with her during, the 1989 tour, she was getting a lot of crap for having her, girl squad and things like that.
Sure.
You could maybe argue that she had the idea for an album called Reputation from all that. But it makes more sense that it came in the wake of all the Kanye drama.
She was literally canceled. Yeah.
She was canceled. Her reputation was destroyed. Okay.
Yeah. My reputation's never been worse, so you must like me for me.
So keeping that in mind, all right, remember, we suspect she should have had an album drop in the fall of 2016, but Reputation dropped in the fall of 2017. Okay. Taylor allegedly met Joe at the Met Gala in May of 2016. And the Kanye stuff happened between February and July of 2016. Yep. And the majority of Reputation is about those two main headlines, her new romance with Joe and then the Kanye beef. Okay. Those things did not occur until early to mid 2016. All right. So if she was on schedule to release an album in the fall of 2016, it would have been getting its finishing touches in early 2016, around the time that the Kanye stuff and everything happened. So let's say her albums are finished 3 to 6 months before release, which is kind of average for a major record label. So if she was planning for an October, November release, which was the norm for her, that would mean the album was technically done in some sense between April or May of 2016 and July and August of 2016.
Which is right when
all this happened.
Phone call.
Kim shared the infamous phone call video on July 17th of 2016. So all of this Kanye drama happened in that exact timeline where if she was releasing in the fall of 2016, her album would have been done and they would have been finalizing the marketing strategies, the distribution, the design of it, all that stuff. So there is a whole missing album somewhere in here.
Like, this album, in our minds, was probably in post-production. Everything was recorded. Everything was lined up. Finishing touches were sort of getting done. We were figuring out the branding. We're figuring out the fonts. We're figuring out the colors. We're figuring out the design. We're thinking about the aesthetic. We are past the point of the songs being written at this point.
Yeah.
So
this is why, like, people say, like, oh, like, Reputation was, TS6, just like she just changed the names. Like, okay, we know that's not true. She did not name it that late in the game. And there's, like I said, the subject of these songs have to do with stuff that happened in mid 2016. There's no way she like wrote all these songs and then like made them fit when we know Taylor's constantly writing. So between 2014 and 2016, she probably wrote many, many songs, and she had a whole album ready to go that clearly got scrapped.
Yeah.
Like, it's not Reputation. It's something else entirely that we have not heard.
And if anyone wants to argue with valid points with us, chime in. But also, I want valid points. I want this level of detail, not you just saying, oh, don't you get it? Reputation is karma. Okay.
No, it's not.
Prove it.
No, it's not.
Prove it.
Also, like, some people are like, she released a song named Karma. She's not going to release an album named Karma.
Please, it's written twice on the man wall. It's written twice, okay?
Karma represents the missing album.
Let's get to the man wall, okay? Because this ties into me, okay?
Okay.
The man wall is...
Then I have a question for you about Karma.
Okay.
But explain this man wall.
The man wall is just one segment of the Man music video that was directed by Taylor, where she plays kind of an alter ego, disgusting male version of herself being the man, quote unquote. And there's a point where her character pees on a wall that says 13th Street Station, and on it is a bunch of graffiti and signs. On it is Fearless, Red, Speak Now, Reputation, 1989, Karma, and Karma written again. Okay?
And a second 1989, which we'll also get to.
And wait, where's the second 1989?
This picture you have in our notes has it cut off a little bit.
Oh, I see it.
The top left by the orange Karma is a black 1989.
Okay, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yes.
But also there is a missing sign between 1989 and Karma, and there is a no scooter sign near Fearless, Red, and Speak Now. And symbolically, like, this is kind of Taylor playing a scooter-esque person. And some now look at this sign as sort of speculation as to her albums and the release schedule. So if you actually look at it, people look at it as like an infinity sign because it goes Fearless, Red, Speak Now, 1989, and then it should be, when there's a Karma in the middle, Speak Now, Karma, 1989. Well, Karma in black would have been the Karma from Midnight's.
Yeah.
Okay? And then it goes 1989, and then to finish the infinity sign, it would go to Reputation, then back to Karma, and then there is a 1989 at the top.
Yeah. Well, but also that missing sign says missing, if found, return to Taylor Swift. And the Taylor Swift of that sign is right near Reputation. So similar placement as the Red and Speak Now on the other side. So it would go Karma to 1989, Reputation, Taylor Swift. So her debut album, and then back to Karma in the middle.
Oh, correct. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you look at this picture and you think of an infinity symbol, that's what a lot of people speculate is going to be the album release. Karma is listed twice, as is 1989. Karma has already been released as a single in Midnight's, but there is an orange Karma. We already talked about how orange, to the Swifties who believe in Karma, the Lost Album, is the color. Taylor associates her albums with specific colors. Her nails for the Eras tour were all painted a different color, one for each one of the eras and albums. the hearts that she uses on certain posts all relate to whatever era she's referring to. Orange has not been claimed. So reputation is black. And we believe that karma would be orange.
Yeah. So, okay. My question for you. What do you think about people speculating that Karma will be released along with Reputation as like a double album, like a whole separate album of like vault tracks?
I don't hate it, but I honestly think that I don't think that she'll do that. I think that she'll announce Reputation and then perhaps like as a follow-up, she'll be like, here's another album as in its entirety. I could see it as like a surprise, like double drop, but I don't think she's going to refer to it as vault tracks, if that makes sense. I don't know.
I do kind of hate it. I hate that
I don't
idea.
like it. It's a whole thing. It's a whole separate thing in our minds.
Yes. I don't think it makes sense. I think it would detract from Reputation, Taylor's version.
I agree.
Also, Karma is not vault tracks from Rep. Rep has its own vault tracks. Like she can have Reputation and have like 6 vault tracks. That's Reputation, Taylor's version. Karma, in our minds, completely different album, different era. It's not part of Reputation. It's separate.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think that doing like a double album drop as part of Reputation makes any sense at all.
I think if she is going to release Karma, I don't think it'll be that long after Reputation. Because I think we're all going to be unpacking Reputation and being like, okay, this is great. And then she'll be like, oh yeah, and here's the lost years. Like, I don't know. It's part of the story of Reputation in a way, you know? But I do think it's its own thing entirely. I don't think this will be something where this is like the vault tracks because I agree. I think Reputation has its own vault tracks that didn't make it.
Of course it does.
On the cutting room floor, there is probably at least 6 or 7 songs that she wrote.
Yeah.
That just
Reputation
didn't make it.
Never had a deluxe version.
No, let's get it. Like it's entirely its own thing. I did see a theory that Karma would actually be the documentary about her re-recording all of her songs. Like that itself would be called Karma. But I still believe in Karma the Lost Album. I'm sorry. Like
yeah.
What's up with the 1989 though? That's interesting. I have clocked that before, but it's another
I kind of forgot
thing.
about it. But yeah, so there were lots of theories during the release of 1989 Taylor's version that that might be a double album, as in like not separate songs, but like 2 versions of 1989. Because she was doing lots of like double emojis during the promotion of 1989 TV.
And let's not forget the aesthetic switch that she did.
That is one of my Roman empires for sure. Like the leaning into the beach vibe for 1989 instead of like a New York City vibe, which is, like you said, that's like what the 1989 tour and the Eras tour set for 1989 is like.
It makes no sense.
It's like dark, neon lights, city, like it's not beach.
Even the costuming. The costuming is not beachy. Like, it's just, it makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. So this wall has a white 1989 and a black 1989. And it would make sense that there's this like beachy, like original version of 1989. And then maybe the black one is like dark, grungy rock 1989 because she was doing so much rock stuff for the 1989 tour. Or like, my thought at one point was, like she had no features for the vault tracks because we'll get to it. But it seemed odd to me because that era was so marked by her friendships and stuff and collaborations.
And the amount of guests that the guests that she had during the tour. Like,
So I was like, is she going to do a whole separate 1989 version with features on like every song? Because that would be cool.
Yeah.
I
just feel like the aesthetic switch is a Roman Empire for me as well. Because it does not make sense. And Taylor is someone who is so clued into really nailing the aesthetics of each era and making them their own separate thing. And for 1989 to literally be about welcome to New York, but you're on a beach. I'm sorry. It does not compute. There's something off. There is something off.
Something's off.
Yeah. Can we actually go to, can we skip to the whole slut? Okay.
Yeah.
So the whole slut. All right, guys. So this is big for me.
Of course it is.
Okay. Well, before we talk about slut, let's talk about the clock in the Karma music video, because that was kind of our first clue about when 1989 would be released, Taylor's version,
right.
Because there is a clock in a coffee cup in the Karma music video, one with a blue thumb, one with a black thumb. The blue thumb is by 8, the black thumb is by 2. Yeah. And 1989 Taylor's version was released in August 8. It was
announced.
Announced, sorry.
Yeah.
But it was on 8/9 in August. 89. It was announced. So then we were like, okay, is the black nail Reputation? Because black is the color of Reputation. Yeah. But nothing happened in February, too.
But then I was wondering, she announced Tortured Poets in February. So what if she was originally supposed to announce Reputation in February? But then Tortured Poets happened and completely changed her timeline.
I think this is what happened.
I think it's totally possible.
I think the release structure totally changed when Tortured Poets had to come out. And I say had to come out because it did have to come out.
Because she probably did plan to have all of the re-recordings done when she finished the Eras tour. Plus, it totally gave her an out while she's touring to not be working on an album like that. Because she's releasing 4 of her re-recorded albums while on tour.
But is this another throwback to this second 1989? Because the blue nail represents the 1989 beach version. The black nail could be the 1989 city version. Because the 1989 is black on the man wall.
And wasn't like some of her social media posts about the 1989 Taylor's version, didn't she do a blue heart and a black heart? Like a lot. And this is why we need to
go back and look because, let me actually pull up Instagram really quick and let me see if I can find it, because
I'm going to pull up Twitter.
This is interesting to me.
Yeah, because I think. Okay.
So this would have been like October, August to October of 2023. Okay. I do think that the release of 1989 was planned, but then like after that, everything got changed.
She did say that 1989 was her favorite re-record.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it, Taylor?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm only seeing blue hearts.
But is it 2 blue hearts?
Occasionally, yeah. All I have to say is like, there's so many things. Because like, okay, even the Time magazine interview that she did, that came out in December. And it is so Reputation coded. Like, she wears all black. Her hair is done in the Reputation style. It's kind of like that wet slick back look. All these photos from the Time magazine thing is so rep coded. And imagine the rollout would have been December Time magazine, February Reputation. So.
But I wonder when she did that interview, because like, would she have known that she was releasing Tortured Poets by that point?
Who knows? Well, I do want to talk about something that does align with Tortured Poets and 1989, which is Slut featuring the 1975. This might be my biggest Roman Empire because I've always been like, yo, why is 1989 the one album that Taylor's re-recorded but not done a music video for?
Mm-hmm.
It's 1989, boo. This is like the album.
She didn't do one for Fearless, right?
I know, but like that's the first one, you know? That was like soft launch. Like this was like that was soft launch.
But like, Speak Now got one. Red obviously got one.
Red got two.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Especially for 1989, her favorite re-record.
It's 1989. Like, I'm sorry. Why is there not a music video? I will question it till the day I die. So multiple people on TikTok revealed that they released a misprinted lyric sheet in their 1989 Taylor's version vinyl that said featuring Slut, featuring the 1975, with a writing credit to Matty Healy, in which he has a verse. And it definitely could be fake, but there are multiple people that have this mistaken printing of the lyric sheet. The vinyl itself, there's no recording of it. Like, it's not pressed into the vinyl, but it is printed on the actual vinyl, like, lyric sheet where you can read the words. It makes me wonder, was there supposed to be a 1989 music video with the 1975, and was Slut going to be the leading track? Because it just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like what probably happened, if I could speculate, is that Taylor collaborated with the 1975 on Midnights. Those songs got scrapped. She said, I do have this idea for the song called Slut that I wrote in the time that 1989 was happening. Would you guys like to help me with that? They record this. It's been recorded. She has it ready for release for 1989 Taylor's version. And then the whole thing blows up with Maddie. And she says, you know what? Take it off. I'm redoing it. This man will be nowhere near my music.
Yeah.
That's my speculation.
She definitely planned for Slut to be the like single from it, because the digital deluxe version had the Slut acoustic version. She didn't do that for any other song. And the vinyl colors Aquamarine Green and Sunrise Boulevard Yellow are from the lyrics from Slut, whereas the other two colors, Crystal Skies Blue and Rose Garden Pink, are from Blank Space.
Right.
So like there was just like a lot pointing to Slut being the like headlining song for the re-record.
And if it were scrapped, meaning like there was potentially music videos going to be made and this was going to be the headlining song, and then last minute she had to change things because of the fallout with Maddie, she probably had a gross taste in her mouth. She was like, I don't want anything to do with that. Like, we're not even acknowledging it, whatever. And it's interesting because, like, if you listen to the vault tracks of 1989, would that have been your choice for the lead single?
No. And Is It Over Now went to number 1.
Yeah. Like, so the fans chose something else. But it's very obvious if you look at the production, like you said, with like the vinyl colors, that was going to be the one that she would probably promote.
Yeah.
And I mean, some have speculated that the whole vinyl is fake, that these people are lying, that they like there's no other proof other than these people on the internet saying that they have it. Fine, might be fake, but it's multiple people that came out. So to me, it's like, I don't know. Taylor's team is really good about wiping this and like making sure that her stuff is done in a systematic way. So like, they're not perfect, but I don't know.
Going back a little bit, we have a couple mysteries surrounding Midnights.
Of
Starting
course.
with the Midnight's Mayhem upside down phones. So
Oh my
Midnight's
God.
Mayhem with me
Chaos.
was the like TikTok series Taylor did where she had one of those like bingo ball spinner things.
Mm-hmm.
With the balls had different numbers on it, and it would randomly pick one for her to reveal the track name for that track number. And so for the second and sixth episodes of this, so when she would say the track name, she picked up this like phone that she talked in and it like altered her voice. But for episodes 2 and 6, she picked the phone up upside down. And this whole time we've all been like, what does it mean? Why those two tracks?
What does it mean? Yeah.
And it was episodes 2 and 6, but it was for Vigilante Shit, which is track 8, and Antihero, which is track 3. Like, we thought we cracked this with the whole AMAs because we're like, 2 and 6, May 26th, blah, blah, blah. But now we're back to being stumped again.
Now we're back to square one because...
And like, if it had been like Antihero and Bejeweled, we could say, it's like songs that got music videos. And It was like, but no. Yeah. Vigilante Shit and Antihero. Antihero has a music video, but not Vigilante Shit.
Nope.
So we have no idea.
Nope. Like, it's so confusing. One day it'll all make sense. But right now we are like very confused.
And like, it has to be on purpose.
Oh yeah, of course. That's like very intentional for her to flip a phone upside down. Like, what are you doing? Yeah.
And then my other mystery for Midnights is what is up with the opposing aesthetic choices for Midnights? Because we had the 1970s vibe, like all those photo shoots that she did. Like, but the album doesn't sound like that. Like, it's not like a 1970s-ish album. But then on the other hand, she had all these like sparkly, bejeweled looks that she did at award shows at that time. So like those looks did not match at all with this other aesthetic she was giving us for Midnights. So it's like, first of all, is the 1970s vibe a nod to Maddie Healy from the 1975 as like being a muse or something at the time? And is all the like bejeweled stuff just an Easter egg for this song Bejeweled? Or like, do the two aesthetics represent like one's kind of more like the original 13 tracks and maybe the other aesthetic is like the 3 a.m. edition? Like, it just never all fit together for me. She's so good at this part. And for me, this one doesn't add up.
Yeah, I mean, the music video for Antihero is very 1970s, and part of me thinks that they just like leaned into like the aesthetic of that music video. But it doesn't really match the overall sound. Like the 70s, you know what I mean?
And then think about...
something's not adding up.
Think about the vibe that she went with for the Eras tour. She went with the like sparkly bejeweled look.
Yeah.
I guess she had the 70s like a little bit with her like lavender haze, fuzzy jacket kind of thing.
Yeah, I just feel like it was a little kerfluffled. Like, I think if she went the true like 70s route, I really would have loved like a rock album from her. But like, that's not what Midnights is. It is more the bejeweled sort of sparkle dress thing. But I also think Taylor herself was very confused during this time frame. So like, maybe it is like, do you know what I mean? Like, she was going through a hard time.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like,
it is a mystery.
I don't dislike any of it. And like, I love the photos from that time. Like for...
Sure. They're so vibey. Yeah.
Like in the vinyls and stuff like that. But yeah, it just never made sense to me how she had these two opposing looks.
Yeah.
And then, like the 1970s vibe didn't really fit the album sound.
I do want to touch on some other Eras Tour mysteries that have to do with costumes.
Yes, we
Okay.
have a few.
So, in the Eras Tour, there are 2 missing 1989 color sets. And this has driven people wild. Okay.
Mhm.
She, in the sort of like second, like European / second end of her tour, sort of changed a lot of her costumes. And in the 1989 section, she has sort of this 2-piece top and bottom with like a skater skirt and like a sort of like a crop top. And
Mhm.
she wore different color combinations, and everyone was keeping track of like all the costumes. People were placing bets on what she'd wear each night. It was like, it was a time to
Mhm.
be alive. Okay.
Yes.
And the one thing that has been keeping a lot of us awake at night is the fact that she didn't wear 2 specific combinations,
Mhm.
gold and green, and the totally green set. So a lot of people were like, were those supposed to be her Vienna costumes? Were those supposed, you know what I mean? Like, those were canceled. Was this supposed to be like saved for Reputation or debuts as an announcement? You know, something like that. I mean, we all talked about this with Reputation, how Reputation only had one bodysuit, the red and black snake suit. And when she just randomly came out with a gold one, I mean, people lost their minds. Do you remember the sound from the crowd? Like,
and we still don't
know
why. We still don't know why. Like, why
nothing
did
happened.
Reputation have one bodysuit for the entire tour? And then for what, the last
Do you think
handful of shows, it gets a new one? What's going on?
Do you think Taylor was just like, do you want to see something crazy? I'm going to put this bodysuit on. I just want you to just, nothing.
Right.
I'm just going to change my costume.
Yeah.
I want you to listen.
I bet her
Like, do you think she was
dancers
just like, let's just mess with them?
waiting for that moment the whole night. Like, oh my God, I can't wait for
Oh,
the
I'm
Reputation
sure.
set. Everyone's going to flip out. I just saw a video of it
I'm so
yesterday.
Sure. Yeah.
Of how like you can't even hear Taylor because the crowd is so loud, freaking out. Oh my God. There's also a missing
and nothing happened.
all gold set from the Tortured Poets set because we have her wearing it in the I Can Do It With a Broken Heart music video in the like behind the scenes and rehearsals.
Right.
But we never saw it. She had a couple different ones. She could have thrown it in the mix. Never got it. And then there was also that missing rainbow
you know what else we never
bodysuit. What?
Yes. Yes. Speak on it. Speak on it.
Yeah. Wait, well, no, you talk about it because you know about this more than me.
Well, Oscar de la Renta, who made the Midnight's bodysuit, posted a YouTube video showing him like behind the scenes of how like hand beating like the, you know, the iconic couple of bodysuits she had with all the bejeweled bedazzles and the gems and everything. But if you look behind him, there is another bodysuit that looks like Lover era colors, pastel pinks, blues, yellows. And it is so beautiful. It obviously was probably a contender for the Lover bodysuit, which is iconic in and of its own right. But this one was much more like kind of midnight-y vibes. It was more like a dress, not like a I don't know, one piece. And everyone's like, one day she'll wear it. One day. No. It's so beautiful though. We'll link to the TikTok behind the scenes video of that so you can look at it. But
yeah. And then the last Eras Tour mystery that we wrote down is why does she have a picture of Cardiff in her janitor's cart that she travels on?
So we know that we've got to look inside of her like janitor's cart that she travels into the stadium with or in. And there's like pictures of her cat. There's like a bunch of little mementos that totally make sense. But there's also a random picture of Cardiff. Why?
We don't know.
What is going on?
And then the one thing about Cardiff we know is that I think that's where she and Travis had like a romantic dinner outside of some big estate or something where they might have been staying. So people are speculating, is it just like personally special to her for some reason? But we don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense.
Maybe she just loves Cardiff. I don't know.
Maybe she loves it. I don't know. Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
Okay, what next?
Got the reputation eye, which you're going to have to take this one.
Okay. Reputation eye. All right. So there is a picture of Taylor in the Reputation album sort of release pictures. There's been a bunch, but one is her with her face where her eyes are exposed, but her fingers sort of like, I don't know, frame either side of her face, but her face is like kind of tilted.
Yeah. She's making kind of like V's with her fingers.
Yeah.
Around her eyes.
And one side very much is her. And from the surface, it does look like her. I mean, it looks like her.
Mm-hmm.
But internet sleuths have looked at this and just be like, why does one side look so weird? And they quickly figured out that technically her left side of her face actually perfectly lines up with Karlie Kloss's face. So the eye theory is that Karlie is a secret muse of Reputation. And there are little like splices of this picture itself, like cut up into pieces on the CD. And the eye theory is so strange to me because there are photographers that took this picture and they were like, yeah, that is Karlie's face. Like that is Karlie's face. Like symmetry wise, that is not Taylor's. And if you look at it, it does look funky. But this also might be a Photoshop situation. But it is very strange. If you want to dive deeper into the eye theory, you can certainly look it up. But it is weird. And there is a lyric in So It Goes where it says, cut me into pieces. And this picture is cut up into pieces on the CD. So
yeah.
It does it's a mystery.
Yeah, this is definitely a huge mystery in Swiftie world. It is crazy because there are plenty of like videos and things of people showing how like you can take a picture of Karlie and overlay it on that side and it does perfectly line up. But like another explanation for this is just that like Taylor and Karlie look a lot alike. You know?
Oh, they're absolutely looking alike. And like I feel like from like, and she is at like an angle, so like I don't know. I know a lot of Swifties are crazy about this. I just know that like when I look at it, I'm like, maybe. But also maybe not. So come to your own conclusions about that. Another weird thing that this doesn't really keep me up at night, but it is a mystery, is NiceBoy Ed. And this was when we were all knee deep in our clownery because it was before
which time
Midnights came out. Yeah, right. So NiceBoy Ed is a mysterious music artist who gained prominence after Taylor used his, or I should say their song, Life You Lead, in a TikTok video. And at the time, NiceBoy Ed had like no online presence. It had one song and one Instagram post with like a blonde baby as the main image. He's also like posted randomly on certain times, like he's gone live,
right?
But never shown his face or their face, I guess. So it's led a lot of people to be like, who is this? And why would Taylor just randomly shout out this artist? Like, is she pointing us to a secret project? Is this Joe Alwyn? Is this a friend of Joe Alwyn's? Is this Austin? Is this her brother? A lot of people claimed it was Taylor's voice transposed.
But why would she do that?
It's a mystery. Yeah, why would she do that?
Why would she do that? There's got to be something up here because Taylor never promotes another artist's song like that by accident, you know?
Yeah.
feel like she's very specific about who she uses in that way, like for a social media post. And it's like, if they only had that one song and one Instagram post and no one had ever heard of them, how would Taylor have known them? And why would she choose to promote them unless she probably like knew them personally?
Right. Like this is a friend of hers, or this is a friend of a friend, or I don't know. But to get a shout out from Taylor Swift randomly just doesn't happen. I mean, there are so many artists that would die for that, but it seems very pointed.
Yeah. And like some people, thinking it maybe was like with Austin Swift, her brother, or something with Jack Antonoff or whatever. There is a band called Jack Leopards and the Dolphin Club, which is a fake alt-rock indie band made of Taylor, Jack Antonoff, and Austin Swift. And it was created in order to make a cover of Look What You Made Me Do that was featured in the TV show Killing Eve in May of 2020. Which, by the way, that song is apparently produced by Jack Antonoff and Niles Stillberg. So Taylor
I
did
wonder
use
who that is.
pseudonym again. But at this point, we all know it's her. So it's like...
Yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke at this point. Yeah.
And honestly, it's probably also a workaround because the whole reason they created this fake band was so that they could use that song in Killing Eve without giving any royalties from the song to Big Machine Records. So that's also probably why she used her pseudonym instead of her name, because if she used her name, she'd probably have to go through Big Machine.
Right.
So that's why Niles Stillberg is the producer and not
It's
Taylor
so
Swift.
Smart. It's so smart. Yeah.
Also, I love how much like Jack is in on all of this. He's there.
Jack
for all
knows
of it.
all the tea. Yeah. He knows every messy detail.
He does.
I will say, like, NiceBoy Ed to me is probably just a friend of Joe Alwyn or of Taylor's that to me, I just feel like this is something we overthought. And like there were people that were literally like, oh my God, NiceBoy Ed yesterday posted a yellow thing. Is Taylor's next thing going to be yellow? And we're like, guys, like, no, like it's some random.
But if it is like a friend of hers, if she's going to promote it at all, why not just say like, hey, check out this cool song by my friend?
She's done that with sorry, I can't think of his name. Bon Iver. What's his name?
Justin Vernon
and Aaron with their project. So yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Talking about messy.
Yeah.
Our next one is something that a lot of people are like, this is my Roman Empire, because it just doesn't, it's sad. It doesn't make sense. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
And that is the Olivia and Taylor fallout.
Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah. So I did a little like research on this because I love Olivia Rodrigo and I do love Taylor, but like I didn't understand like how much Olivia was a Swiftie. So, so I did a little research. Here we go. July 9th, 2021, Olivia gave Taylor a belated credit on the Deja Vu song that she released for musical similarities to the song Cruel Summer.
Which I've never been able to hear.
Never. Okay?
Yeah.
Olivia openly acknowledged previously that she interpolated New Year's Day in her song One Step Forward, Three Steps Back. And if you listen to that, I do hear that.
Yeah. And that always had credits to Taylor and Jack, I believe, because she interpolated it. So, yeah.
Yeah. But adding credits to Deja Vu was confusing. But it meant that the royalties for Deja Vu were now split between her co-writers, which included Taylor.
Yeah.
And this led to speculation about Taylor's potential financial gain and Olivia's potential loss. Also, Paramore received credit on Olivia's song Good For You, which that sounds very much like Misery Business by Paramore. Almost immediately, people are making this connection. So that makes more sense to me.
And that one happened first, I believe. And I think it was like, I think Hayley Williams and like her bandmates kind of came out and were like, we don't care. We're not involved in this. It was like someone else who was a songwriter or her label or someone outside of her was the one who actually brought this to Rodrigo's team and was like trying to like sue or, make like force credit. And then my understanding of it was like after that, Olivia's team decided to give Taylor credit for Deja Vu to avoid everything that happened with the Paramore stuff. And because everyone was saying crap about it. So she's like, fine, to just cover my bases, let me give Taylor writing credits as well.
But it doesn't make sense for Deja Vu. Like it's confusing. No, it's weird.
It's a stretch.
Yeah. And
but it is
so then later
it is kind of crazy though, because I was reading about this, and by giving Taylor and Jack writing credits for Deja Vu, 50% of the royalties get split between Taylor and Jack, and the other 50% go to Olivia and her producer and co-writer, Dan Nigro, which to me is crazy. Like, I feel like if you're going to give writing credits in that way, like give them like 10%, because they're involved in like maybe 10% of the writing of that song. Like having to split it 50-50 just seems crazy to me.
It doesn't make sense to me. All I know is that months later, Olivia was interviewed by Billboard magazine in October 2021, where it was with Alanis Morissette. And Alanis Morissette said, quote, "There was a lot of bullying and a lot of jealousy and a lot of people whom I adored my whole life being mean girls." And Olivia chimed in with a smile and said, "Same." Then literally like, okay, this is when we started to pick up on the scent that something was wrong, because on Red Taylor's version release day, and the All Too Well music video release day, fans expected to see Olivia show support because she did previously with all of her other music. But instead, Olivia posted an Instagram story praising Gracie Abrams' new album and nothing else. Back when Sour was released, fans also sort of picked up on tension because Taylor didn't show any public support of Olivia, and pushed ever more vinyls during that time, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
And also another shady thing is that Olivia, well, maybe not Olivia, but her team sent a PR package for the Sour album to Kim Kardashian. And their praise of each other has been silent ever since. It's very weird. That seems pointed to me. In December, months later, Olivia said, when she was nominated for a Grammy Award for Sour, she said, "It's really frustrating to see people discredit and deny my creativity." Yeah, so the Grammys clarified that songwriting credits for interpolations don't count. So her original application for Sour was denied. And then it seems
Sour was nominated, but originally like Taylor and Jack were included as like songwriters, but they were removed, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So they were not nominated as part of Sour, but Olivia still got Sour nomination.
Her producer, Dan Nigro, also told the publication that, quote, "It seems like people get funny funny about things when songs become popular. I can't speak. It seems like people get funny about things when songs become really popular."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely like bitter about this whole thing. And she really was put through the ringer with that. One thing, like I said, like from what I had heard, I was like, oh, like, I don't think Taylor's team pushed for this. I think Olivia's team pushed to do it with Taylor to cover their bases. But I recently heard a story from Maren Morris where with her one album, she has a song. I can't remember the name of the song, but she was just talking about this where like 2 weeks before the album was released, her mom said to her like, hey, I noticed this one song on the album sounds a lot like 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton. And so
interesting.
Maren like freaked out and she went and listened. She was like, oh my God, it totally does. It absolutely sounds like 9 to 5. And I had never noticed it, but it definitely does. And so Maren contacted Dolly Parton and she was like, hey, I love you. And she even said she thinks she and Dolly had been in contact before this event. But she contacted Dolly and was like, listen, I've realized that this song I wrote sounds more like your song than I'm comfortable with. You know, like, I'd like to give you writing credits on it. And Dolly Parton was like, honey, don't worry about it. It's like, you're fine. Like, just don't even bother. So like Taylor could have done that.
Yeah.
So that's where I
don't know.
But then again, Taylor's like legal team is like ironclad, you know, like they are relentless. So Taylor absolutely could have been advised to take her up on this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the other thing for me is like,
I mean,
it just doesn't sound like Cruel Summer to me.
The risk that I think Taylor would have run into if she didn't ask for credits and she just let it go is that down the line, this could have been a comparison that another artist could have used in a lawsuit to say, you didn't sue this person when she used your music. Like, you didn't ask for credits for this.
That's a good point.
You know,
like setting the precedent.
Yeah. But I think it's sad though, because obviously previous to this, Olivia had credited her on 1 step forward, 3 steps back.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's very interesting. I mean, in the Sour tour, Conan Gray, who's one of Olivia's closest friends in the industry, and Taylor had called the two of them, quote unquote, her babies, both of which were major Swifties. They were used for the Fearless television. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. The Fearless Taylor's version promo. Conan said that the two of them are going to perform their favorite song ever. And a lot of people thought that.
And this was on the Sour tour.
They thought they would be a Taylor song, but they sang a Katy Perry song instead, which is interesting because of Taylor and Katy's history.
Yeah.
Also, when Conan was asked if he had listened to Midnights, he said that he hadn't listened to it yet in an interview, but it had been like
out for
weeks,
months.
If not months. Yeah.
So honestly, the Conan Gray stuff maybe plagues me even more than the Olivia stuff, because I was actually a huge fan of Conan Gray back in like 2020 or something. Like before I even knew of Olivia Rodrigo. So like I loved his like first album. And if you look online, there are a bunch of videos of Conan talking about his love for Taylor Swift. And he has like that encyclopedic knowledge of her songs. So the thought of him not listening to a Taylor album for like a few months after it was released is
intentional.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that's
intentional.
Crazy.
Woo!
Yeah.
But it does make me think of this line from Nothing New.
I know someday I'm gonna meet her. It's a fever dream, the kind of radiance she only had at 17. She'll know the way and then she'll say she got the laugh from me. then I'll cry myself to sleep.
I mean, is that not Olivia? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, she idolized Taylor and like she got the map from her. And
I will say though that publicly Taylor has continued to be like supportive of Olivia in the sense that like at award shows she like sings along to her songs. She, very vocally cheers for Olivia when she gets awards, like the way that Taylor is at award shows, especially for people she really loves. So yeah, but it also would make sense if all of this has played out the way it appears to have, that this is very much like a one-sided beef.
I don't know. Like, I just want them to make up. Like, I don't.
Me
it's
too.
it's sad. It's sad. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's sad. I don't get it.
The other explanation that people have given for this is that Olivia Rodrigo is probably advised to stop talking about Taylor so much because it was like the beginning of her career was so wrapped up in her being a Swiftie. And she was becoming a huge star in her own right. So she could have been told like, hey, stop talking about this other major pop star because you're constantly going to get compared to her and everything. Like, you need to make your own name.
Yeah.
So that's possible too.
I think that's a weak argument. I mean, like, how many people say like how they love Beyonce? Like,
I know.
Like it's not the same conversation. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that Taylor often looks at artists like Olivia and they're like, and then there's, the new light in the room, like this from Clara Bow.
You look like Taylor Swift in this light. We're loving it. You've got edge. She never did. The future's bright, dazzling.
Yeah.
I mean, is that not Olivia coded? Like these young pop stars that take the map from her. She says she's happy for them, but like she had to pay the price of all this. And now they're constantly being compared to her. Like we were just saying, like,
yeah,
it's an interesting world that Taylor lives in. And I fear that business for her is very serious. And I think she, like you said, she's an ironclad legal team. And maybe this was something where they were like, listen, we're advising this. And she was just like, well, I guess I have to trust you. Like, I don't know. Like,
right. Yeah. And I feel like there has to be something going on because I was double checking what happened at the Grammys this year. And Taylor was hanging out with Sabrina Carpenter. And then Olivia Rodrigo was nearby. And Sabrina went over and hugged Olivia, which that was a huge moment because they've had previous beef. And I think Taylor was hanging back talking to Olivia Rodrigo's boyfriend, I think. But if she and Olivia were actually on good terms, I'm sure that they would have like hugged and had a whole little moment together.
They would have like at least publicly said like, look, there's no more beef. Like, but maybe that was the start of mending some fences. I mean, they're all in the same world. So,
yeah. And if like Olivia is really close with Gracie and Gracie's really close with Taylor, like I wonder if Gracie is like in the middle of it. Like she hears it from both sides.
I'm sure.
Or if Taylor's like, does Olivia hate me? Like, what can I do? Like something like that. I don't know.
It's hard, man. The industry turns women against each other and like, it's tough. It's tough. I do think the ultimate Roman Empire though is without Taylor losing her albums, would we have ever gotten all of these wonderful vault tracks? Do you think she would have ever just dropped all of these on our laps? I don't think so.
The answer is no. We would not have gotten them.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Unless she
The
had done like
bitter-
a 20th anniversary special at some point. But even
would there
then, I
even
don't
have
think
been
so.
an Eras tour? She just would have continued on making music. There wouldn't have been
Right.
like a revisiting of all these past things. So why
Right.
would you get vault tracks?
Right. Yeah. And I would say, is it all worth it, even just for the all too well 10-minute version? You know?
The bittersweet reality is that Taylor was wronged, but in doing so made a very sweet sort of situation for her fans. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it
And
is
by the
bitter and sweet.
way, I just finished that book I was reading about the strategic genius of Taylor Swift. And so it went into a little more in depth about the sale of her masters and stuff. And, you know, some people could argue that what happened with her masters was totally above board and there's nothing wrong with it. And legally, that's true. But the fact of the matter is that Scott Borchetta sold her masters for money because he wanted to sell Big Machine Records and stuff. And if he was okay with selling it to a non-artist for cash, like it's just a paycheck for him, right? Then why could he not sell it to Taylor as if she was another investor? And the fact is that anytime that Taylor was offered to buy her masters, whether it was from Scott or Scooter, there was always like a contingency.
Yeah.
And that's what she was not willing to do.
Even recently, Scooter has tried to sell her rights back, and she was just like, at this point, why would she do that? Like, little too late, buddy.
Yeah. And the person who bought them from Scooter tried to, you know, get Taylor on board, and she was like, I would have, except that Scooter will continue to get money with the deal that you made with him. So therefore I can't partner with you because I will not let him profit more off of my masters. And with Scott, like he was going to let Taylor buy back her masters, but she had to stay with his label, and she didn't want to. She wanted to leave. She needed to leave.
Yeah.
So it's like every step of the way, it's like, when it was Scooter, he wouldn't even give her a price or let her look at the financials until she signed an NDA. She was like, absolutely not.
Nope. Yeah.
Yeah. So I applaud her for that. It's really messy, but yeah, it just sucks that for her, as the creator of her work, was not given the same opportunity to buy her own masters, which she would have paid for, the same way that it was sold to just some random investor. And that's what's really messed up about it. You know, at that point, you're just spiting her.
I don't know if it's true or not, but Kelly Clarkson was actually one of the first people to say she should just re-record all of it. She just re-record all of it. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I did hear that every time she releases a re-record, she sends Kelly flowers.
Yeah. I heard that too. Yeah.
But I do think that, I'd imagine in her shoes, she probably thought when she released Fearless, I'm doing this because I said I'm doing it. No one's really going to care, but I'm going to have fun with it. Like, whatever. I'll just do this on the side whenever I have time or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, it really did give all of her fans a chance to really like harken back to their times listening to Taylor Swift's music in their own life, but also like really sit with the amount and the like the quality of the music that she's written.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. I mean, I feel like she's given us like a whole renaissance of her music just because of two men becoming awful people. So for that, we say thank you. Thanks, Taylor.
Right. I mean, karma's real.
Karma's real.
Yeah. Okay. So because we always bring it back to food a little bit here at the end.
Yeah.
It's not a song, but like this episode as a recipe or a food item. What are we saying here?
I said cotton candy because we're clowns in a circus and it's fun, but it disappears as quickly as we got it. So it's just, it's effervescent, it's silly, it's lighthearted, but it's also sometimes disappearing in front of us. So
yeah.
AMAs.
I said it's a box of mystery chocolates. Where it's like,
perfect.
Box of chocolates, you have no idea what's inside any of them.
Yeah.
You just have to take a bite and figure it out.
I feel like you have to just let those Roman empires sit until they'll be solved one day.
Yeah.
So,
one day, maybe
maybe they
know.
never will be. Yeah, maybe.
We may never know.
No.
I don't know. There's a lot of mysteries here. But let us know what your tailored Roman Empire is. What keeps you up at night?
Yes.
What mystery just plagues your mind? Because I'm sure there's more. We could have gone on for days with this.
All right. Well, signing off. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you'd like to support the pod, give us a follow at Blank Plate Pod on TikTok and Instagram, and make sure you're following us on YouTube as well.
You can check out our website at blankplatepodcast.com. You can send us an email at blankplatepod@gmail.com. And you can leave us a voicemail or text us at 717-382-8313.
And if you're enchanted by what we're doing here every other week, you can also give us some love on Patreon. We're releasing new episodes on the 13th of each month. Some bonus content for you.
Yeah, and until next time, we had the time of our lives with you.
And it's time to go.
Bye.
Bye.